Little mice cuddled close in cozy, cluttered rooms, having yummy picnics out in their fields, being jovial and wearing the cutest little clothes. That is the world of Brambly Hedge, written by Jill Barklem. A mix of cottagecore and Da Vinci like machines. This is the comfortable world Jill wrote and illustrated in her Brambly Hedge books. I remember these mice clearly because they were my favorite escape. I grew up as an only child, raised mainly by my grandma and great grandma, and my world was that of books. So this little note in the front of this says it was given to me on 10/25/90. So I had this book well before I could read. And yes, it's signed Mommy, and that is 100% my grandma's writing. I cannot be fooled. I don't think I was even fooled then, despite not knowing how to read. I could tell this was my grandma's signature, not my absent, neglectful mother. So this is very close to me because it was actually given to me by the people who cared for me and took care of me. Anyway, I cherish this book, and clearly since I have held on to it despite many moves and trying to get rid of most of the things that cluttered my life as a kid, this has survived into my adulthood with me. I'm frankly in awe. It's in such great shape considering I've had this in my bookish collection since the 90s. For me, being an only child, I was kind of lonely, but I found a lot of comfort in the illustrations here. The mice were adorable and had little friends, and they all made yummy confections and wore the cutest clothes. I love their little hats and their aprons, the random patchwork decorations, and all the incredible visuals that showed mazes and technical drawings of the mice in their homes. When I started this little research project, I noticed that there wasn't much on Jill Barklem. I've tried to piece together what I can from my copy of the 4 seasons of Brambly Hedge and the Brambly Hedge website itself, which is maintained by her family. In this edition, there's a whole introductory area because it's an anniversary edition that has info from her where she gave an interview, so I took a lot from there. The biggest takeaway I got from a lot of this is that Jill's Essex upbringing was filled with nature, and that would play a major part in her life. At 13, she suffered a detached retina, and that would lead to her spending a lot of time in the library and art room instead of outdoors. When she would travel via the London Underground to classes at St. Martin's School of Art, she would escape to a safe place in her head, one filled with a hedge bank of mice, according to the family site. These moments of escapism from the subterranean bustle gradually became what we now know as Brambly Hedge. In her own words, she says she actually didn't come across Winnie the Pooh or Beatrix Potter until she was in art school. She said she was most influenced by Arthur Rackham and Leonardo da Vinci. And if you've looked at the Brambly Hedge books, you know that there are some illustrations that look very much like a technical drawing, or something akin to Da Vinci's notebooks. Jill researched and planned everything in the Brambly Hedge world. The clothes the mice wear are spun by paw-driven looms. The flour for bread is created using a fully functional watermill. Many of the details of Brambly Hedge can be traced back to British agricultural processes of the past. The harnessing of wind and water power, the imaginative use of ingredients, the preserving of fruits in autumn for winter use, the ceremonies and celebrations that mark the turning points of the year. From BramblyHedge.com, our story. The 4 seasonal themed books got acquired by HarperCollins and were published in 1980, a decade before my book would be gifted to me. Besides the spring, summer, autumn, and winter stories, which make up the 4 seasons of Brambly Hedge, she also wrote and illustrated The Secret Staircase, published in 1983, The High Hills, published in 1986, Sea Story, published in 1990, and Poppy's Babies, published in 1994. Due to health issues she had during Poppy's Babies, she stepped back from working on the Brambly Hedge world. Her world had become successful during all this time, with merch, Royal Doulton items, a TV series, and so much more. Jill died on November 15th, 2017 at 66. Her family now manages everything related to her work and legacy. The Brambly Hedge stories have been translated into 13 languages, and they just celebrated 40 years of being loved by readers. So I didn't really think much about how this book has impacted my life besides the clothes and the food and the affinity for fluffy rodents. But as I was doing this, I really thought about the themes of Brambly Hedge, and I realized they'd actually deeply impacted me my whole life. The books talk about nature and sustainability, food, eating seasonally, and cozy comfort. Nature and sustainability are two aspects that the books clearly center around, and that the family has made clear as part of their practices through partnership with wildlife trusts. Socially, the mice live in harmony with their environment and with each other. There is a philosophy of loving kindness and mutual responsibility. In the books, we see the mice save everything from the harvest and carefully used materials around them, and I think it's clear from these loving illustrations that the creator also felt this was close to her heart. Delicious food bursts from cabinets and picnic baskets in Brambly Hedge, overloading tables and enticing curious paws. I learned that all the yummy sounding food in the books are actually real. Jill apparently made all the foods she mentioned to make sure they would work in real life. And you can get some amazing recipes that are very Brambly Hedge inspired from their website. They've sorted everything by season, and it's a pretty cute thing to look at and check out. The other theme in these books is comfort. Being cozy at home when it's cold out and snowy out, or having a delightful picnic with friends. The mice, or I guess rabbits as you're saying here, of Brambly Hedge want nothing more than an excuse to celebrate and love each other. And get all cuddly. I think these Brambly Hedge mice are the original cottagecore trendsetters. Because of this, I want to spend a year at Brambly Hedge. So here on my channel, you're going to get to see me work on some Brambly Hedge themed projects, starting with this video. And you might have already seen me do a cute little tea cozy last year. So I consider that a kind of prequel to my year at Brambly Hedge. This won't encompass every video I do, but I am going to aim for one a season since this is a seasonal book series. And I hope you'll join me in using this time to think about the themes of these books and finding joy in the things that comfort us when we were kids. I would like to leave you with the Midwinter poem from The Secret Staircase before you head out today. When the days are the shortest, the nights are the coldest, the frost is the sharpest, the year is the oldest. The sun is the weakest, the wind is the hardest, the snow is the deepest, the skies are the darkest. The polish your whiskers and tidy your nest, and dress in your richest and finest and best. For winter has brought you the worst it can bring, and now it will give you the promise of spring. Until next time, thank you for joining me, and don't forget to make it so.